Hello, I'm Guy Barker, and this is Diggin' Diz, the story of Dizzy Gillespie.
One day while strolling through the park, I overheard a lover's conversation. They didn't say, "I love you, dear." All they did was whisper in each other's ear. They said, "Ooh, shooby-dooby, ooh, 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 shooby-dooby, ooh, 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 shooby-dooby, ooh, 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 shooby-dooby, ooh, shooby-dooby, ooh, shooby-dooby, ooh, ooh."
Unlike many jazz musicians of his generation, Dizzy was happy to embrace showbiz. He was always the showman, and with numbers like this, unashamedly looked beyond the jazz world.
Shooby-dooby means that I love you, and ooh, that means I love ooh too. As I passed by, I could hear her say, "We'd better hurry and name the date, because ooh, shooby-dooby, ooh, 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 shooby-dooby, ooh, 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 shooby-dooby, ooh, 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 shooby-dooby, shooby-dooby."
So, was that number by Gillespie's vocalist Joe Carroll a slightly desperate try for a hit record in the pop novelty climate of the early 1950s, or a serious attempt at creating a wider audience for the minority cult of bebop? Probably the latter, judging from another song recorded very soon after Dizzy stopped working with Charlie Parker in 1946.
I know a guy who had some brand new tricks, played his horn with a crazy kick. The thing that really made him such a flop was he beat when he should have bopped. The same old square jumped right up on the stand, but he just couldn't dig the band. He thought he was the cream of the crop, but he beat when he should have bopped. All the cats gathered around to see what he was trying to prove, but anyone could plainly see that he was dragging them out of the groove. At last the leader turned around and said, "Listen, Pop, you had better stop. Oh, there you go, you did it again. You just beat when you should have bopped."
The vocal, by a Sarah Vaughan imitator called Alice Roberts, can't really save that one. It sounds like a particularly dire example of commercial songwriters trying to cash in on a new music craze, rather like Blame It on the Bossa Nova, a musical style Dizzy helped to create. But in fact, the composers are actually Gillespie, his arranger Gil Fuller, and his saxophonist John Brown. Clearly, Dizzy was trying to sell this strange music to the listeners.
All the cats gathered around to see what he was trying to prove, but anyone could plainly see that he was dragging them out of the groove.
I think the sight of Dizzy Gillespie leading a band is the most extraordinary one because, in retrospect, it looks exactly like Louis Armstrong 15 years earlier. He's in front of the group with his trumpet, strutting back and forth, establishing eye contact with everybody, and a lot of the time, to be honest, looking a bit crazy. And when you look at Dizzy with his great bebop orchestra in the late 1940s, his style and his body language, everything about him, is practically identical to Armstrong.
Trumpeter writer Digby Fairweather. And you can see what he means in a film of Dizzy from 1947, dancing in front of the band, pulling funny faces, sticking out his bum, and working like mad to get the audience on side. He even manages to be charismatic and visually compelling while playing something much more demanding like Things to Come. Things to Come, which actually came into being in 1946. Just imagine the impact of that wall of sound back then, when the conventional swing bands were dying on their feet. Pop music was all about Frank Sinatra and Dinah Shore, and the hippest thing in the hit parade was Louis Jordan's Choo 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 Boogie. It's hardly surprising that Dizzy was developing strategies for keeping listeners on board who might otherwise be tempted to jump ship. John Dankworth.
I think Dizzy's clowning was rather reassuring in a way, in that when bebop came in, it was not only startling music, and to me very joyous music, but everybody seemed so poker-faced about it. You don't imagine Charlie Parker with a smile, or Miles Davis for that matter, even less Miles, but Dizzy always had that grin and always that opportunity to mess around and send things up a bit, and I welcomed that.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Now I would like to feature our vocalist, Joe Carroll, who will sing Oh Lady, Be Good. If you can't be good, bebop.
Not one of Dizzy's greatest witticisms, perhaps, but note that British accent on If You Can't Be Good. I can remember Diz using that voice on my mother when he used to ring up and say, "Hello, this is John." And when he was in France, he was happy to use the few words he knew in French.
Silence. Bonsoir, madame et monsieur et enfants.
Dizzy's biographer, Alan Shipton.
Dizzy spent from 1939 until September 1941 in Cab Calloway's band. Cab Calloway was Mr. Showmanship. His band was the largest earning black entertainment group in America at that time. Night after night, Dizzy sat 10 feet away from the consummate master of entertainment. And there's no way he didn't learn from this. Now, I think it reflects that as well as being like Louis Armstrong in the sense that Dizzy played the trumpet and knew how to work an audience, more of his showmanship actually comes from Cab Calloway. For a start, there's costume. Cab used to wear these extraordinary tailcoats. Dizzy took on dress, the beret, the glasses, the goatee. This is all Calloway stuff. Calloway later put zoot suits on and was a hep cat. And in just that same way, you see Dizzy adopting special manners of speech, the bebop greeting that he did with Benny Carter, all this kind of stuff, to me, reflects showmanship that he learnt from watching a consummate master of the craft night after night.
Live it, and the jive is right. Oh, tonight's the night. Oh, read, all right. Come on, old man, come on. Weed to catch ya, help ya. So you rip this righteous riff, mop, mop. Here's the spiel to help ya. Then you rip this righteous riff, mop, mop. You gotta come on like G.I. You dig the repeat from me side. You put it right on the lehigh. Then you can really get by. Oh my, weed to catch ya, help ya. Oh, you reap this righteous riff, mop, mop. Now you help, I betcha. Oh, you reap this righteous riff.
A post-war broadcast by Cab Calloway, complete with his zoot suit and even a residual Gillespie influence in the backing arrangement. On one of Dizzy's earliest broadcasts, he's a bit hamstrung by having to read a script written by someone who obviously considered himself a hep cat, but the personality still comes through.
I just blew my gasket, and now nothing could surprise me. I wouldn't even raise my eyebrows if Dizzy Gillespie walked in and said, "Hello, Ernie Whitman."
Hello, Ernie Whitman.
Eyebrows as you were. Well, started me to a tuba and let me double in brass. Well, that's me on to a bull fiddle and call us Siamese twins. If it ain't the big blow himself, Mr. D. Gillespie. Well, what brings you to Hot Horn Hall this year, Mr. G?
Well, I just happened to be walking through the corridor, Ernie, and as I passed this door, my trumpet made a sharp left, and here I am.
What are you going to decipher for your faraway fans?
I'd like to blow them a bundle of specks and spots. The title of this is Sure Enough.
Sure enough.
Dizzy recording for the Armed Forces Radio Service in 1945 with announcer Ernie Bubbles Whitman. Of course, nobody on radio in those days was encouraged to improvise verbally, but it's revealing there's no mention of Charlie Parker. Clearly, Dizzy was already seen as being the one with the charisma. Clearly, too, he wasn't above making fun of his elders and betters. There's a record of Diz playing Louis Armstrong's famous signature tune, When It's Sleepy Time Down South, and then snoring at the end of the track. Some of Dizzy's humour was purely visual, such as his famous routine of saying, "And now I'd like to introduce the band," before turning round and getting them to shake hands as if for the first time. There's also humour that's visual and musical, such as Diz showing off his ability at the congas.